How you doing? This is George Senda, the guy from Pittsburgh. Well, we had a great deal of difficulty getting to the ANP conference in San Rafael, California, and the big reason why is it was pouring rain, absolutely dark, overcast. You couldn't hardly see the road in front of you. Everything's black. Drove around for an hour, got directions from the hotel. Go to Terra Linda Road, turn right, make a hard right, then a left. And we're going like, huh? So after driving around, I go see this opulent-looking sign go and a road going uphill. Pulled in that was an office park. Went up, went down. Saw some elaborate-looking townhouses, a lot better than the ones around here. Came back up and saw a 4x4 parked in the parking lot. Actually, two of them. And two guys were standing outside talking. We pulled over and I got out and I said, "Hey guys, where is this hotel?" So they said, "Oh, all you gotta do is follow us." Or there, one guy, "I'm going home." So when I get to the light, you turn left, I turn right. I said, "Okay." So we got down there, turned left, went down about half a mile, and found the hotel. Got in there. The hallway was packed. I mean, there must have been 150 people in this little hallway. And they're all talking to George. And I got stopped by this little old lady. I mean, she was like 90. I don't know. And she goes, I listen to Coast every night. Do you listen to Coast? I love Coast. I said, "Yes, I do, but I'm kind of busy doing videos and stuff. I don't always listen to it." "Well, I love Coast." So I said, "All right, ma'am, I'm glad you like the show." So I saw Noory, waited behind him till he was done talking. If you tapped him on the shoulder, he'd turn around and he said, "Georgie," and he hugged me, and he saw Kathy and gave Kathy a hug. He said, "Go sit down, wait for me to get done here." And okay, so I sat down, saw Richard Dolan's UFO book he just put out recently. We started looking at that. He had 3 copies on a table. Kathy went over to get something to munch off the munchie table. They had salami and crackers and coffee. And then a guard walked up and said, "You can't be here. You don't have a badge." And Kathy said, "We're guests of George Noory." So I walked over and said the same thing. Then this Weasley guy, they had working the registration desk. Now all their tickets were sold out. Couldn't have bought a ticket if I wanted to. It was $190 to attend this event. So I said, "Look, we're guests of George Noory." And he went over to George and there was talking back and forth, and finally he said, "Okay, you can go in." So we sat in the room where they had this question and answer panel with all the people you see on the screen. And Catherine Austin Fitz said that we are in a deflationary recession as of this moment. So that confers what I said in my video the other day. And I didn't know Daniel Sheehan, he's a lawyer. He said that he and other people shut down the American nuclear power industry, which because it's unsafe. And this guy talked about change. And these two people, they're married. They did a video. I don't know what the video is about. Richard Dolan was most interesting. He talked about Jade Helm. Still big interest in that. And talked about development of ISIS. And he's come out with a new book on false flags, and then he will come out with a 3rd volume of UFOs in the national security state. I have the 1st volume on my shelf. And people were talking about in the hallway about Jade Helm. So, and I want to wish Audrey Corbin and Andrew Grandalia to my channel as new subscribers. Thank you. And remember what Time Runner thinks. I'm not a racist. I am against illegal immigration. I don't care what color your skin is. I care about what's inside you and inside your heart. So you want to think I'm a racist by my comments? Fine. I don't like the policies of Barack Obama, but I don't care if he's green. And I've said that. His policies are disastrous for this country. He wants to abolish the Second Amendment. He wants to confiscate all the guns if he could. But he can't. We have a Congress and a populace that won't let him do it. But he sure would do it in executive orders if he could in a heartbeat. And the Democrats are obsessed with gun control. So, as I've said in a comment, I picketed the White House in 1962 when I was 10 in the suit for civil rights. I heard Martin Luther King's speech at the Lincoln Memorial. And living in Washington, D.C. for 8 years, I went to a school that was 80% black. And the public school I went to, and I also went to a private school. The private school was all white. And but all my friends were not at the private school. They were still my friends in the public school. And they were all black. And I didn't look them as black. I looked them as my friends. And the reason we had a lot of black friends otherwise, my dad had been a master sergeant in the Army. And a lot of his friends, he got a job at Fort Belvoir in the medical maintenance department. And a lot of his friends were current Army or retired Army. And a lot of them were black. He didn't have a big of a bone in his body, either, neither did my mother. She was a member of the NAACP. So this is ridiculous. So anyway, after the question and answer session, because I digressed too much in that, but it bothers the hell, it made me call a racist. We're about to leave, and George sees us and says, "George, go to the restaurant." And why am I going to the restaurant, George? He said, "Go sit down and have something to eat." And I go, "Okay, I'll be there in a minute." So we sit down, and there's Lorian Fenton, the producer of this event. She also produced the UFO convention in Sacramento. And Richard Barnett, I think his name was, a frequent guest in Coast to Coast. We talked for a couple minutes. And what's really weird, he told me a story that the Steelers lost in the playoffs. And I'm going, wait a minute, the playoffs not till tomorrow night. How can you know the Steelers have lost? And he's running down the game statistics, and I said, I know the game's not on tonight, it's on Sunday. So that was really strange that he picked up something they lost. They hadn't even played the game yet. So George sits down. Everybody's eating salad. George had calamari. And Kathy ordered a pork chop, and I ordered a steak. I was reluctant to do so. I asked George, do you really want me to do this? It's awfully expensive. He said, yeah, get anything you want. So I ordered a steak. It was $29 with an interesting kind of a teriyaki onion glazed sauce. And Kathy's pork chop, I took a bite of it. It was very nice. And she started talking to Lorian, because both Kathy and Lorian have diabetes. And I got into a discussion to George about power and whether or not you can have power without money, or if you require money to have power. So we started talking about that. I think you can have power and be influential, be a columnist, a commentator, radio talk show host, television host. You can be in a small market and have influence over an area and not necessarily have a great deal of money. But the power is the influence. Money will get you power. It'll buy things. It'll get people to do your bidding. Far more than just the power of the printed word or the visual arts. So we went back and forth on that for a while. And we thanked George for dinner. And had a nice time. There were about 10 people at the table. And I did 2 short videos of the people in the room waiting for the panel to start and the hallway. And I wasn't able to get any interview with George because Tommy said there's just no time. Now, we got in there at 8, got out there at 11:30. He had dinner, and he had to get on a plane at 8 the next morning to go back to L.A. So, well, I'll see him in L.A., and I will say, hey, let's set up a time. Give me some time for the interview. I got stuff to ask you about that people want to hear. And, oh, by the way, his new show, it bounced from network to network, and I told George, good thing you didn't sell it to Al Jazeera, because they're going out of business in March, the American branch anyway. He says there's a very good chance this show is going to sell the network it's at. I know exactly what network it is, and I think it would be a good matchup. So, we get back in the car. Pouring rain, overcast, and fog. And fog like, if here's the car, and here are your headlights, that's it. That's all you're going to see is right there. And we go down the road to Albany, back up, get back on highway, get back on the 80, and go to Highway 4. And by the time we got to Highway 4, the fog was so thick you couldn't see the car in front of you hardly, except for taillights. So we followed this ambulance for 4 or 5 miles. Finally, it sped up, and the ambulance disappeared, and we're going, where the hell is the road? And at one point, Kathy almost drove off the road. She couldn't see the road. And that scenario, even though there's a guardrail there, it's scary because there's a cliff there. And if you go over that cliff, you're finished. It's a long drop. So we were very glad he backed Martinez. I had gotten a donation. I transferred the money into my account and paid my internet bill this morning. It was another stupid thing. They said, well, we'll give you 3 days to pay the internet bill. We'll give you 3 days of internet. And they gave me till Sunday. And then they cut off the internet. I called them up and they said, there's no one available here to pay the bill on Sunday. So why are you telling me to pay the bill on Sunday when there's no one here? So I'm going, ugh. So I paid the bill this morning and back on the net. So sadly, no interview with George, but I do have a clip with him and 2 clips in the hallway. So it will happen. And he said that pretty much the show is going to be sold. Very good chance it's going to be sold. And I think that's far better than the past things where nothing happened. He's had it now to about 8 networks in the 8 months. So I guess it's taking a month per network to tell him no. So I hope it sells. I could use the money and pay off all my bills and pay my rent and pay my internet bill for a while. Hell, a week's pay would pay my internet bill for a year. So I'd be very happy with that. And pay my taxes on it and all that before you start saying anything. So we will see what happens with that. I'm just glad we got home safely because it was very scary. We could not see the roadway in front of us at points. We could because of the rain and the fog and the darkness. All right, I'll be back sometime today at my Trump video, but I'm going to take a break and let my poor foot try to rest. And even though no matter what I do, it's not getting any better, and I'm going to call the hospital tomorrow and say, please have my doctor call me. You got to do something with this foot. And I pulled out this Dr. Scholl's vibrating heating foot machine. I'll do a video on that. It doesn't work with a damn. The only thing that heats up is this red light on the top of the thing where you put your feet. But nothing heats up. It vibrates, feels kind of nice, but it's no great shakes. And I don't know if they make this thing anymore, but it's a joke. All right, I'll catch you next time. Have a great day and enjoy yourself. All right, bye-bye.